Margaret sat in the upscale cafe, smoothing her cream-colored blouse with nervous hands. At 58, she hadn't been on a date in years. Her daughter Emma had set this up, insisting it was time Mom got back out there. The soft evening light filtered through the windows, casting a golden glow across the polished tables. She checked her phone again. 7 o'clock sharp. He should be here any minute. When she looked up, a distinguished man in a dark suit was walking toward her table. Something about his confident stride seemed familiar. As he came closer, Margaret's heart stopped. Those eyes, that walk, it couldn't be. "Margaret," he said, his voice carrying that same warm tone she remembered from 20 years ago. "Mr. Harrison?" The words barely escaped her lips. Robert Harrison smiled, a touch of nervousness crossing his usually composed face. "Please, call me Robert. May I sit down?" Margaret nodded, still in shock. Robert Harrison, the CEO of Harrison Industries, the man whose office she used to clean every evening after everyone had gone home. Robert settled into his chair, his expression softening. "I know this must be quite a surprise." "That's putting it mildly." Margaret managed a small laugh. "When my daughter said she found someone nice, I never imagined it would be you." "Your daughter Emma works in our marketing department now," Robert explained. "Brilliant young woman. She mentioned her mother was single, and when she said your name, I knew I had to meet you again." Margaret's mind raced back to those long nights 20 years ago. She'd been a single mother, working 2 cleaning jobs to support Emma. Harrison Industries had been her evening shift, from 7 until midnight. She'd scrub floors, empty trash bins, dust the executive offices. And then there was that one night. "Do you remember?" Margaret asked quietly. Robert leaned forward. "How could I forget? It was the worst night of my life, and you were the only one who saw me fall apart." Margaret remembered it clearly. She'd been cleaning the executive floor when she heard sounds coming from the corner office. Crying. Deep, broken sobs. She found Robert Harrison, the powerful CEO, sitting on the floor behind his desk, tears streaming down his face. "My wife had just told me she was leaving," Robert said, his voice thick with memory. "Taking our son across the country. I'd lost myself in building the company, and I'd lost my family in the process." Margaret had done something that night that still surprised her. She'd sat down on that expensive carpet next to him, didn't say much, just sat there, occasionally handing him tissues from the box on his desk. "You told me something that night," Robert continued. "You said, 'Money builds companies, but love builds lives. It's never too late to learn which matters more.' I can't believe you remembered that," Margaret whispered. "I never forgot. Those words changed everything for me. I fought for my marriage, went to counseling, learned to put family first. My wife and I reconciled. We had 15 good years together before she passed from cancer 3 years ago." Margaret reached across the table, touching his hand gently. "I'm so sorry." "Don't be. Because of you, I got those 15 years. I got to be the father my son deserved. I got to hold her hand every day through her illness and tell her I loved her." Robert's eyes glistened. "You gave me that gift, Margaret. A cleaning lady who had every reason to ignore a wealthy man's problems took the time to show simple human kindness." "I was just being decent," Margaret said. "No." Robert shook his head firmly. "You were being extraordinary. Do you know what I did the next day? I found your employee file. I saw you were working 2 jobs, raising a daughter alone. I wanted to help, but you disappeared. You quit without notice." Margaret looked down. "I was embarrassed. I thought you might not want me around after seeing you like that. I searched for you for months. I wanted to offer you a better position, help with Emma's education. But you'd vanished. I got a day job as a receptionist. Better hours for raising Emma. Robert smiled. You raised an incredible daughter. She speaks about you with such love and respect. They talked for hours that evening. About Emma's childhood. About Robert's son who now ran the European division of the company. About loss and healing. About the unexpected ways life circles back. So, Margaret said as the cafe staff began dimming the lights, is this really a date, or are you just reconnecting with an old acquaintance? Robert's eyes sparkled with something Margaret hadn't seen in years from any man looking at her. Margaret, I'm 62 years old. I've learned not to waste time on games. This is absolutely a date. I've thought about you more times than you could imagine over the years. The woman who saw me at my lowest and responded with pure grace. Margaret felt her cheeks warm. I'm not that same young woman anymore. And I'm not that broken man on the floor, Robert replied. We're both better versions of ourselves. That's what makes this interesting. As they stood to leave, Robert helped Margaret with her coat. His hand lingered for a moment on her shoulder. Would you have dinner with me again? He asked. And maybe this time we can meet somewhere I can actually hear your story properly. 20 years is a long time to catch up on. Margaret looked into his kind eyes and saw something she'd almost stopped believing in. A second chance. Not just for romance, but for recognizing that kindness echoes through time in ways we never expect.